So I'm joined here today by Warwick SU Officer for Democracy and Development, Michael Kynaston. Thank you very much for joining me here today. So before diving into your manifesto and looking at some of the pledges you've made, what motivated you to run for this position, and what responsibilities does this role entail?
So in terms of what motivated me, there were quite a few things I wanted to do, wanted to change at Warwick, and there's just stuff you pick up during your 3 years here. So for example, it frustrated me that it costs so much to eat on campus, and obviously once you get onto campus you're stuck there because of the long bus journeys. It really frustrated me that there weren't enough microwaves, enough hot water for kettles around. It frustrated me that you couldn't replace your bus pass. Those sort of things are the reason I ran, to be honest, because I actually wanted to change things, and yeah, it just appealed to me.
Brilliant. So now if we sort of look more at your manifesto, we can talk about Stagecoach perhaps, which is a source of continual frustration for students at Warwick. And a key aim of yours was, in regards to transport, was to make Stagecoach replace the lost bus passes. And so to what extent have you achieved in doing that?
So I think, we achieved that. Myself and Liam Jackson and some other people at the SU worked on our Better Buses campaign for 2 weeks. For the 2 months before term began. It was quite well documented, our sort of negotiations that went on with Stagecoach, and yeah, just before the beginning of term we came to an agreement with them where it was a panel process. When someone lost their pass, it would go to an appeals process, and the panel would be made up of someone from Stagecoach, someone from the university, and someone from the Students' Union, and it's resulted in all but one person getting their bus pass place that's applied, I'm pretty sure. And that one person was fortunate. And we've also, we committed to helping them, come down harder on the fortunate ones, because they're the ones who really mess it up for everyone. Because the reason Stagecoach stopped replacing the passes was because there were apparently some fraudulent claims of bus passes. And yeah, I would say we've been successful, and we were really pushing for better technology as well. So smart cards, and those have now been introduced. I think they got introduced a couple of months ago. And as a result, that kind of, there's no longer the need for that panel appeal process, because now they can actually track who has bought a pass through the smart card. So if you lose it, it's just like I'm not sure how much the replacement fee is. It's a small replacement fee, and you can get it replaced. And now, the issue's solved. So
through improving the technology, it's been made easier to replace bus passes to a certain extent.
And it's got rid of the risk of fraud as well for them.
Brilliant. And I think you also touched a little bit on perhaps introducing a 24-hour bus schedule with Stagecoach.
So I was hoping that we could introduce just a few extra buses overnight, basically, during terms 1 and 2, because during terms 3, when the academic work is much heavier, the buses are later through the night, but for them it's purely financial. It's purely, are there going to be people using that service? And so while we managed to get extra buses during vacation time, which is another aim, we weren't able to get the 24-hour bus service yet, but I know my successor Ben Nisham will be pushing on that as well.
And you think that there is this demand for the overnight bus service?
I don't know, to be honest. I think, I have seen the numbers, and financially it doesn't really make sense for them, but there will always be a few students who could use it, and that's the point, isn't it? You're always pushing to help those few students, but it's also this battle, trying to persuade them that it's also a sensible, smart thing to do. But yeah, I know that Ben will be helping push for that next year. Yeah,
and perhaps maybe even a 24-hour bus schedule could improve nightlife on campus, open the sort of times for the copper rooms in that regards. Is that a possibility as well?
I mean, open times in copper rooms again comes down to commercial. But you're right, it would improve nightlife on campus. It would get rid of the sense that Warwick's slightly isolated. For example, if you've been to SMAC, if you've been to Casbar, you have to pay for an Uber or a taxi home. That's quite expensive. It would just be easier if it was like London. You could just get a bus home from out. So no, you're right. It would be great, and it would make everything more connected. But as we've seen with a lot of issues so far this year, you can't just. And I've seen from this year, what I've learned is you can't get these quick fixes all the time. A lot of the time, it's about building relationships and pushing for these things to happen, and it's progress over time. So I'm sure we will get there, and it makes sense. Basic process.
And I think then, talking about quick fixes, I think one of the things we can talk about is student engagement with democracy. Student engagement does sort of sometimes seem lacking by the wider student population when it comes to SU elections and policy proposals. And why do you think necessarily that this is the case? And what have you done, or what can we do more generally to improve this student engagement?
So in terms of why, I think it's not just a Warwick problem. It is across the country. This year, we didn't have great numbers in our spring election. I will always say the caveat is there were strikes and it snowed a bloody lot.
The snow,
during the week, which made it a little bit harder because campus was pretty empty. But I think in general, why is there this perceived lack of connection in general between student politics and the students themselves across the country? I think it's because a lot of students, to be honest, want to see the SU's doing things for them, and only by doing things that they can see directly benefiting them, e.g. saving them some money, making their lives a bit easier. I think this is my personal thing. I think that's how you connect with them, and that's how you see engagement rise, because people would be grateful, they'd be more committed to the SU if they saw what the SU was doing for them. And we're trying to do that all year. We're trying to help students all year. In terms of what I've done to try and improve it, so just a few operational things we did this year for turnout. We tried a few new tricks, mainly to counteract the fact that it was snowing and strikes. So we got in touch with all academic departments and asked them to email their students, asking them to vote, which they did. We worked with clubs and societies, asking them to make videos, photos, statuses or emails to their members, which we could actually see when a club did this. So for example, Royal Student Cinema put a post out saying, hey, everyone remember to vote. Instantly, like 200 more of their members voted in 2 hours, because it's about. The other reason is it reminding people what's happening, especially if they're not on campus because of those issues. Reminding people what's happening. They see, an email, I should vote. Oh yeah, why don't I vote? It takes 2 minutes. So it's also getting it in people's minds. We put out a couple of push notifications through the My Warwick app, which resulted in huge spikes in voting numbers. Because, you've probably got the app, right?
Yeah.
I don't have it because I'm not a student anymore, but I know pretty much all students have it, and so having that push notification pop up, we saw a huge increase again, so it's again getting in people's minds. And the other thing we did, which I was quite pleased with, was we revamped the Boer election edition. So I don't know if you saw it, but in the past it's just been a series of the paper in the past has just been a collection of everyone's manifestos in a smaller size, which is not very accessible, not very readable, no one really wants to pick it up. Whereas this year I worked really closely with the Boer editors, and they did a fantastic job, Cameron and Clara, and we got specialised answers from the candidates for the questions we asked them, sort of Q&A sessions, and we came up with this really lovely election edition, which I wish I'd brought a copy with me. And then we got that put out in every kitchen on campus by the SU Street team before the elections. So it meant that everyone on campus could have this easy access in their kitchen to candidates' views on issues, and also it's kind of a fun Q&A. It was a bit more get to know the candidate. And often I would walk into a kitchen when I was doing hall talks to promote the elections, and I'd literally find someone reading it and making their choices from that information. And I found I like that as well.
So there's been a heavy use of sort of technology, especially
technology and other ways of trying to get to the students. I'd say in terms of what we can do in the future, I was hoping it would happen this year. It hasn't yet, but hopefully Ben will be able to utilise it. Is the SU app. So there is an SU app at the moment, but it's not great. Everyone is aware that if it's going to keep going, it needs a complete revamp. And if the SU app became like the My Warwick app, where as a first year you would just automatically download it because it was so useful, and every student had the SU app. If we were able to send, because the My Warwick app, they don't want to send too many push notifications. Obviously, it's their app, and they don't want us to just spam it. Which is why it's limited how much we can send. But if we had our own app, we could spam it.
Do what you like.
So for that week we could spam it. So I see that. I think that could see a massive increase in turnout if you can get the app sorted. Which couldn't happen. Which didn't happen this year, but I really hope it might happen next year.
Keep pushing for it. Absolutely. And so then, touching on that, what would you say your most successful campaign, campaigns this academic year have been?
I think it's got to be Stagecoach for me. To be honest, me personally, and for Liam working with me. Although I don't speak for Liam when I say what his most successful campaign was, but for me, Stagecoach was one of my top things to try and sort. It was just ridiculous that people had to pay £330 for a replacement bus pass. It's just stupid.
Outrageous,
it's already expensive, and then asking you to spend on top. That was a huge part of why I ran, because it was just something that was this has to get fixed. And the fact that we did it before term even started, and before most people had bought their bus passes, was for me my biggest win. Which was nice.
I think brilliant. And it's a very visible change, especially for people who live in Leamington as well, to not have to pay that replacement fee anymore.
And we saw big engagement as well, which was nice. I'd also say the other thing, and I know you're going to ask me about micro soon, but getting hot water in was nice as well. Getting hot water in the library, seeing the reaction, You know, there was a War It Loves post read about it. There was a tab off some
good comments, I think.
And like some fun comments, you know, like not all superheroes wear capes.
Yeah,
you know, it made it all worthwhile. So that was good.
But all jokes aside, I do know people who've been very grateful for sort of having hot water in the library, especially for pulling all-nighters and things like that.
Yeah, I'm happy.
And then finally, at Raw, we'd love to know, where are the microwaves?
Right, so microwaves. So it's one of those things where you keep getting commitments from people, but do you actually see it physically? Right? You don't believe it, and we are getting there. And basically, what I hope to be able to do is on my last day or penultimate day, whatever, right near the end of my time, I'm going to be able to be in a position where I can announce what the plans are. Okay. I can sort of say here that it's looking like there will be a room in the library. Which has, you know, a few microwaves, a few hot water boilers, and it'll be sort of shut off from the rest of the library. So, you know, hot water can't get into the hot food can't get into the library, which has been their main concern all year. Fair enough, they don't want their books to have, you know, noodles on or whatever. But so there will be a room, a sort of temporary feature in the library, hopefully by the start of next academic year. But I'll be able to officially announce the details in the next month, hopefully. And then long term, we're looking at creating a bigger purpose-built, like eating, drinking, relaxation,
canteen
chill
area.
out. Where it's sort of not a canteen because it wouldn't be selling anything.
Okay.
It'd be like a chill out, not commercialised, but like you can just use this to make your own stuff. And take a little break from the library, and that would probably, hopefully, be within the main library building as well. But that's sort of a longer-term thing that me and Liv are working on.
All right, brilliant. So there's your answer. Microwaves coming to a campus near you next year.
You know what? For all people who voted for me, who were in their second year last year, I'm really sorry it didn't happen this year. I hope you enjoyed the pot noodles from the hot water. But, you know, for anyone, you know, you're going to be here next year. Right? You know, for everyone else, you know, look forward to it.
Brilliant. Michael, thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.